Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome back to another 12 days of OT. We're getting closer to Christmas. Before we get started, I wanted to wish you a happy winter solstice. I hope you get some good sleep tonight because it is the longest night of the year, and I hope you can see the Christmas star. So this discussion is going to have a very narrow focus. It's going to be primarily focused on telehealth and its relation to occupational therapy and PT and speech as related services. If you're new here, my name is Arwen. I'm a pediatric occupational therapist. So this discussion really is going to be focused on telehealth and its implications for pediatric therapy. In general, I think that telehealth and telemedicine are incredible inventions. They've allowed us to connect with medical professionals and experts from all over the world that patients would have never had access to before. With its application to the therapy world, telehealth was already being utilized before the pandemic, right? My employer was already training therapists to be able to use telehealth, primarily to reach clients that live in rural areas that are very difficult to reach, or it would take a long time to drive there, so being able to meet with the families virtually made it much easier. The funny thing is, they would have to send a non-skilled person to the family's home in order to help them connect to the internet because, surprise, surprise, the internet sucks out in the boonies, which is one potential drawback that we'll talk about later. I do want to acknowledge the fact that this form of therapy, that telehealth was implemented out of safety concerns, right? So we're still in the midst of a global pandemic, and the rush to get telehealth up and running, was put into place because we needed to protect one another, and I understand that. And it took enormous amounts of work and effort for so many hardworking therapists and clinic owners and clinic managers and supervisors. I am eternally grateful for my employer for stepping up and leading the way in this new unknown of virtual therapy. And again, I want to reiterate, I'm only speaking from anecdotal one-person experience. I've been primarily using telehealth since March, so almost 9 months. So these are just things that I've been thinking about as things have shifted. Like I said at the beginning, it was out of panic and fear, and we had to, again, keep everyone safe. And things are a little bit different now, and I feel like we have learned a lot over these past 9 months. So these are just some of my primary concerns and thoughts about telehealth and how it relates to my job as an OT, and again, those related services like PT and speech therapy. And I don't want to deny what an incredible tool telehealth is, but that's what it is, right? It's a tool in our toolbox of therapy. We have lots of tools at our disposal. We have lots of therapeutic interventions, and telehealth is just one of those now. But my thought process is, what are the downsides if it is used as the primary form, as the only tool for implementing therapy? So some of the things that come to mind immediately are, will the child actually progress with telehealth, right? Are they still going to meet their goals? Are there more cancellations? I bet you they are. I haven't tracked these things. I think it would be incredible if we did track these things. I think we really need to, if we are to understand and determine if this is a good way to be implementing services. What's the impact on the parents and the family structure for them having to implement and do all of the hands-on services that we're asking them to do? Many times when I was going to individuals' homes and doing home health visits, many times I was the reprieve, right? I got there and the parent could finally have a break. And it's not that they weren't disengaged, but finally they could go to the bathroom, or with these really complex medically involved kiddos or very low functioning kiddos that require a lot of support, me coming to the home was again that moment of, okay, someone else is here. Someone's going to provide me with that support. They could have a conversation with another adult. I know some of these parents, are in homes all day with their kids, so I was another adult interaction. So thinking about the impact on the child and the family structure, and not having that in-person engagement and social interaction and a moment to catch their breath. So how does it impact those that have poor connection, that have bad internet service, that have limited bandwidth on their cell phone, or that don't have enough devices to go around? I think, at this point, many people that didn't have good internet now have it because of these specific reasons. But I still think that the access to therapy may be more limited now and affect those that are already more disadvantaged, because if they don't have Wi-Fi or they couldn't pay their internet bill, then how are they going to log on and interact with me? So again, I think it's already limiting access to those who maybe would have already had more difficulty accessing therapy services. And then just connection issues during the session. I have had my fair share, and it's very challenging. It takes away from what we're actually trying to do, right? If you think about billing, should we be billing a full service if we cut out for 10 minutes and then we come back? There's so many logistical things that you have to think about. But connectivity is a huge issue. As therapists, we weren't initially equipped to implement services in this way, right? Like I said at the beginning, they were taking therapists one at a time to train them to use telehealth. And we were all just thrown to the wind, good luck out there. And yes, we are creative and we're adaptive, but it is a lot more work and effort to make sure that you're planned and organized. There's just a lot more work up front to do telehealth. And so I think one of the things that I worry about is going back to the progress of the child, is if we don't have the proper training and tools to implement occupational therapy or speech therapy or physical therapy, is the child going to progress as much as they would have if they were in a clinic or if we were actually going to their home? And I think this comes down to, again, therapist training. I haven't spoken on this much, but I use a parent coaching model, and that was the model we were already using before we transitioned to telehealth and virtual services. So that has made things much easier because we were already using parent coaching strategies. But if you don't have that foundation and you don't know how to engage the child and the parent, and if you don't know how to engage that parent, or you were already having problems engaging the parent, I could not even imagine what it's like right now, especially those school-based therapists. I pray for y'all. I really do. I know it has been so hard on y'all. We were just starting to have these discussions about how prolonged screen time is bad. It's so bad for your health. It's bad for child development. And now what are we doing? We're just all plopped down in front of a screen all day. So that is my soapbox rant. What does all of that mean, right? Everything that I said, what are the implications? Where do we go from here? Again, I think that telehealth is an amazing tool, and we would not be even having this discussion if it weren't for the incredible advancements in technology and the internet. But I think what it comes down to is, obviously telehealth cannot replace hands-on therapy, right? If it was the best, then that's what they would have taught us in school. But maybe not. Things are constantly changing, and maybe we figure out that telehealth, the way that we're doing it, maybe not is the best, but down the line we're going to figure out much better ways to implement it. The robots will be there to help us. But I think for now, hopefully, you know, most of us can agree that nothing at this point in time can replace in-person, hands-on therapy. You know what, there's a very famous occupational therapy quote from, I believe, an Eleanor Slagle lecture. I'm gonna look that up really quick. And the quote says, "Man, through the use of his hands, as they are energized by mind and will, can influence his own state of health." And I think that, right, if that's the most famous OT quote, that speaks volumes, right? Through the use of our hands, not through a computer at this point in time. Again, things may look different in the future, but I think right now we were trained to use our hands, and that's what we, I think, as therapists want to do when it is safe to do so. So going forward, you know, I think a hybrid model is great, you know, using telehealth in combination with in-person visits and evaluations and reassessments. Again, I understand at this point we're still trying to keep everyone safe, and there's lots of progress and constant changes with regards to therapeutics that are going to help us with this pandemic. And so this may not pertain to you. We're still really focused on telehealth at this point, just because of the patient population that we work with. I think a hybrid approach at this point would be the best case scenario, the best solution. Again, especially for those evaluations and reassessments, and just doing those checkups to make sure that the child is still progressing. So that's going to be it for me today. I went a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I hope this was an engaging discussion for y'all. Definitely leave me any comments and your thoughts if you've been doing telehealth and how that's been going. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.